Don't let them fool you. Or even try to school you. Oh no. We've got to find a phone. So go to hell if what you're thinking is not right. Love would never leave us alone. I in the darkness, you must come out the light. Could you be loved and be loved? Could you be loved for that and be
The road of life is rocky, and you may stumble too. So why do you point your fingers at someone else who's judging you?
Don't your brother, man?
Could you be loved? Could you be loved? Could you be loved? Could you be loved?
Don't let them change ya. Or even rearrange ya. Oh no. We've got a life to live. They say only the fittest of the fittest shall survive. Stay alive. Could you be loved and be loved? Could you be loved for that and be loved?
Everyone is your water until the river's dry. No matter how you treat them, men will never be satisfied. Could you be loved? Could you be loved?
Say something.
Could you be loved? Could you be loved?
There's a natural mystic blowing through the air. If you listen carefully now, you will hear. This could be the first trumpet, might as well be the last. Many more will have to suffer, many more will have to die. Don't ask me why. Things are not the way they used to be. I won't tell no lie. One and all got to face reality now. Though I try to find the answer to all the questions they ask, though I know it's impossible to go living through the past. Don't tell no lie. There's a natural